Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. What a crazy few weeks we've had in the British government. There's never a dull moment. The British government has become a laughing stock around the world. The whole world is laughing at us, and rightly so. There's more drama happening in the British government and in politics than there is in Netflix. What's the point paying for a subscription in Netflix when you can watch all this drama for free, right? Anyway, I was having a live stream with my friend Alex when news broke out that Liz Truss was going to get kicked out. I knew her time was up when she had a meeting with 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady, because I don't know if you recall that as part of the 1922 committee, it said in written down as part of the rules that no prime minister can have a no vote confidence within a year. So the fact that she was meeting this committee member, Graham Brady, she must have been told either you quit or we change the rules and you're forced to quit. If you quit now, it'll be better for you. If you're forced to quit, then you'll be embarrassed. To be honest, they would have found a way to kick her out regardless. And the funny thing is, she gets to keep her salary. I think it's about £150,000 for 1 year. She gets to keep it for 1 year, by the way. This is part of the golden handshake she had for before being forced to quit. So people are asking for her to give that money back. She's not going to give it back. You know, it's the easiest money she'll ever earn in her life, by the way. So who are the main candidates? Well, you got Boris Johnson here, who's being booed, by the way. He's on his flight back from his holiday. I don't know if you guys remember, but Boris Johnson has been on holiday for the past 2-3 months. Every week he'd go on the Caribbean, or every week he'll be out somewhere. And even though he was still prime minister, and we were waiting for Liz Truss to be sworn in, he was still flying around in the Caribbean. This guy loves going out holidaying at taxpayers' expense. You know, and yeah, so he's come back and he's been absolutely booed in the London airport on the way back. It sounds like the Tory government are becoming very, very desperate. They're running out of candidates. They got Rishi Sunak, obviously, and I think that they've got no choice but to appoint Rishi Sunak, and I think a lot of people don't want to appoint him. However, you got to understand the Tories are fighting for their lives here. These MPs are not going to have a seat. If there's a general election, they are not going to have a seat. They are saying that Tories could lose around 300 seats. So they want to keep their cushy jobs. They want to keep all their expenses paid, all these flights all around the world, invites to all of these posh parties. They want to be part of that club. They are not going to lose that privilege. So even though they do not want Rishi for various reasons, number one reason is because he's Indian, but I feel that they have no choice. My opinion is we are in this mess because of Rishi Sunak, because of his reckless spending during the pandemic, because of his, all of this money printing that he did. I mean, look, we are in this mess not because of Liz Truss. I mean, Liz Truss has made it worse, correct? But we are in this mess because of Boris and because of Rishi. So people need to understand that. And to bring them back as well, it shows utter desperation. So there's other people on the list as well. There's a woman called Penny. They are talking about that defense minister, the bald guy who got pranked by the Russians, Ben Wallace, I believe. They're also thinking about bringing Hunt in, the new chancellor. They're also bringing him in as PM as well. Personally, I do not think they're going to take a chance with all of these new people. They already took a chance with Liz Truss, and she was a big risk because she was an unknown. And this is why they are not going to take a risk with new people. They are not going to take a risk with Penny, with Ben Wallace, or with Hunt. I think it's too much. It's going to be too much of a risk for them. I think they're going to keep it safe. And for them to keep it safe, they're gonna bring back Rishi because he knows the British economy better than anyone at this moment. He knows how bad it is, and if anyone that can stabilize it, is him. And to be honest, Rishi Sunak is probably the least anti-Russian, anti-Chinese person there is. He's not much of a hawk like the rest of them, like Liz Truss and Ben Wallace and Boris Johnson. So even if it comes in, I think it's probably going to be the best out of all of the candidates they have, because he's not going to be as hawkish towards Russia. He's not going to be as hawkish towards China, even though the Parliament and the MPs will try and force him to be. But I think that, if he's strong enough, he'll probably like tell them to back off. I don't think he's strong enough. I think he'll change as soon as he comes on power. All of these Ian Duncan Smith and Ian Donut Smith and all these other MPs are going to like push him to be more hawkish towards China, hawkish towards Russia. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think as a safe bet, it's probably going to be Rishi. Boris, I doubt it will be Boris. They have to be very, very desperate to bring back Boris. And this is what Boris had been planning, to be honest. He backed Liz Truss because he knew what a disaster she would be, and he knew that people would be asking for his name for him to come back, because he knew that she would be an absolute disaster, and she was. She is an absolute disaster. It's a shame because you look at all of these female politicians around the world, and they're all disasters. I mean, I've got nothing against women, but what the hell is going on with these female politicians around the world? Why are they absolute disasters? I mean, I can name so many. That you got Ursula, who has been absolute disaster for the EU, destroying the EU. You got Alanina Baerbock. She's going around saying, it's more important to help the Ukrainians than the help their own German people. She's going around saying all that crap. Then you got Victoria Nuland. You got that crazy woman from Finland, that druggie, that cokehead or whatever, the part of the Flower Club. It's crazy how all these female, leaders are just letting their people down, and they all want to be part of this exclusive club. They want to go around drinking champagne with Biden and all these other politicians. They want to have their expenses paid for, trips where they fly off around the world when they go to the G7. It's like a mini holiday for them. When they all came to the G7 in Cornwall, they were all like having a mini holiday. Boris was jumping in the waters, swimming, and everyone else was watching the show. Nobody came here to work. Everyone was just having a good time. And you see this recent meetings the EU leaders were having, and there's pictures of them drinking champagne and laughing and joking while their own people are suffering. Germans, people in UK, Europeans, French, people are suffering while these leaders are going around drinking champagne, having a good time. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let's have a quick roundup of all of the stories that's happening around the world, especially in UK. Some crazy stuff. So you have this I've seen in the British papers, and this one's particular from the Independent. That apparently Aldi is a small supermarket in UK, and they are looking to sell insects. And it seems to be like a new normal. It seems to be they are trying to tell us that there's going to be a huge food shortage, and they're trying to get people get used to eating insects. This is just a start, and I believe that a lot of other supermarkets will start selling insects as well. And they're saying that they are cheap. It's going to help with the cost of living crisis, apparently, and it's also going to help with the food shortages that we're going to be getting in the next few months as well. So I don't know about you guys, but remember, I made a few videos earlier about food shortages. Make sure you stock up. Things like pasta, long-term pasta sauce. Stock up on dried food like rice and many things that are, you can keep behind the shelves long-term, like sweet corn, like tuna. Make sure you stock up on it. I've stocked up 2 big, cupboards worth of these kind of food. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you do it, because the warning signs are there. There's going to be huge food shortages. Warning signs like this. and many other warning signs that we're seeing around the world. So there will be a big food shortage happening, and you got to make sure you prepare for it, guys. Make sure you do. Also, other things I'm preparing for is power shortages as well. Make sure you guys do that. There will be some power shortages in the UK. I'm pretty sure of it. You want to make sure you are completely covered. You will need these power banks just for things like for your fridges and many other things that you'll need it for. So make sure you're well covered for that as well. So, seeing this story about the cost of living warning that the bills will go up to £4,000 next April. So, do you remember that Liz Truss's cost of living help, where she said that nobody's bills will go above £2,500 and the government will subsidise the rest? Well, guess what? That was based on gas prices staying as they were. However, since that bill, the gas prices have gone up even more. Since that bill, obviously the Nord Stream 2 pipeline got blown up, and Europe is having a major gas and oil crisis. So that is obviously going up, and that government budget is going to run out by next April, which I basically said in the previous videos. I think there was a video I did about a month ago that they will run out budget by next April. And guess what? I was right. And they're going to run out that budget, and they're going to increase everyone's bills by £4,000. And don't forget, guys, don't forget that people's interest rates have also been rising. The banks have been increasing the interest rates, so their mortgages have been rising. The cost of living has been going up. So people in UK are ultimately screwed. In terms of businesses, things are not looking good either on the business side of things. There's a lot more bankruptcies happening all over UK. And don't forget, one of the things that Liz Truss has actually done is increase corporation tax on businesses. It's gone from 19% to 25% or something along those lines. And this, as well as all of the gas prices as well and electricity costs, businesses have to pay more due to rising electricity costs, gas prices as well. Businesses have to pay more because a lot of businesses in UK and the West, they run on loans. So businesses get business loans to run their businesses. And with the rising interest rates, those business loans means they have to pay back more in terms of interest. So things are not looking good. Their corporation taxes increased, their business loans have increased, their mortgage costs or rent costs will have increased, their bills will have increased, the raw materials they buy will have increased because a lot of businesses import a lot of the raw materials which comes from the Far East or United States or South America or even Europe. All of those costs will have increased because of the increase of gas prices and oil prices. The cost of transporting all of those goods will be increased as well. So you see, in terms of businesses, German businesses are deindustrializing, but so are UK businesses as well. Things are not looking good in the UK, not by a long shot. So I want to show you some of these clips. These are some funny clips going around UK. These are basically protesters, and this protester himself is spraying all over Aston Martin. Uh, he's spraying all over the Aston Martin shops, and this is in Park Lane, which is a very rich area in London. But then you have these clips about these crazy women throwing paint or soup. It's actually soup over Van Gogh painting. So those of you who love Van Gogh, do not watch this. I would suggest you turn your back. And what they do afterwards is they put glue on their hands, and they basically basically glue themselves to the wall so nobody can take them away. Did you hear one guy saying security? And I'm going to leave the best till last. The best till last is this young lady. And look at this young lady. This is Scotland Yard. This is Scotland Yard. This is the headquarters of the police department in UK, and she has got a lot of guts doing this in Scotland Yard. And what happens to her? She gets arrested. But you got to give her the guts to do it in Scotland Yard. I mean, look, she gets arrested straight away, and you got to give her some guts. The fact that she does it in right on Scotland Yard. Oh, I find it hilarious. But I'll tell you one of even more hilarious stories. I'm going to have this as the idiot of the day. So the idiot of the day goes to these protesters in Germany. And basically what he says here, eco mob moans about being left in the dark as showroom staff turn off lights and heating and go home during their protest. So these guys come into the showroom, and they basically obviously glue themselves to the floor so nobody moves them. And the funny thing is that the staff that work in this showroom, they just leave for the night. They just basically shut the lights off, shut the heating off, and they just leave for the night. And you can see here, these protesters stayed there all night without any heating or any decent way of using the toilet after staff went home after at the end of the day. So I can imagine them like really dying to go to the toilet. I can imagine them really getting really cold at night. So it serves them right, really. I mean, why don't British people do that? Well, I think you gotta give it to the German people who work in this showroom. They got some balls, and obviously they got a bit of brains as well. So Britain's economic outlook is going from stable to negative due to political instability, making it more expensive for the UK to borrow money on the international markets. And as you know, Britain is a net importer of goods. They import more than they export. The export market is more or less dead. It died after Brexit. They cannot export anything to Brexit anymore because of red tape. And the companies who used to trade with Europe, they have moved their headquarters to Europe, which means the government in UK takes less tax from them. They can't tax them anymore because their headquarters are in Europe. So they have taken their jobs, they have taken their money, and they have taken their businesses to Europe. So the businesses that are running in UK, they have either stopped trading with the European countries, or they do reduce trading. And Britain has not been doing very well, and as you know, Britain imports a lot of stuff, and which means as because of the strong dollar and the weak pound, it's going to cost the UK a lot more to import stuff than export. And because of the weak pound, they cannot take advantage of having a strong export. If they had a really strong export market, because of the weak pound, they could have taken advantage of it. Unfortunately, Britain does not have a strong export market, so they are losing out big time. So the next story is gloomy picture of UK economy. More bad news. Sterling KO. Sterling's pretty much dying. The retail sales have gone down. Nobody's spending money anymore because they have no money. Everyone's pretty much broke. And government borrowing is increasing. So government is borrowing more money, especially with their rising interest rates. They're buying their own bonds as well. Bank of England is buying its own bonds, even though they've said that they're going to stop that. But I believe that if the pound continues to fall even more, they're going to have to step in again. So things are not looking good on the UK sector. I don't think anybody that comes in as the Prime Minister, this is a poison chalice. This is one job you do not want to get involved in. And I believe, if Rishi Sunak was a clever man, he would probably stay away from this job right now, because it's not a good time to be the UK Prime Minister, because all of these policies, all of this stuff that's happening right now in the UK is mainly down to Boris's policies. Boris and Rishi Sunak, they have brought the country to its knees. And whoever comes in now, they're just going to get the blame for it, like Liz Truss did. Even though she wasn't the right person for the job, but it could have been anyone in Liz Truss's shoes, and they would literally get hammered. So it doesn't really matter who comes in at this point. So that's all the time I have for today, guys. Hope you find this interesting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your liking and sharing is very important. It helps push the channel out there, helps push the video out as well. So really appreciate your help, guys. And don't forget, if you want to help me on a more personal level, you're welcome to join my Patreons or my locals. It really does help because YouTube has not been paying me for the past few months. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and I'll see you in the next video.